council, bless the mayor, bless this process. For we ask it all in your son Jesus' name. We ask and we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we move on, I'd just like to ask this council, let's keep our leader, our president, Mr. Charles Jenwright, in our prayers. He's had a procedure, so we want to keep him lifted up. We just thank you for that. Thank you. Need a motion for the work session, December the 6th, 2022. Hey, man, y'all paying attention?
Make a motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
5 with Councilor Lyons abstaining.
Okay. All right, need a motion for the regular council meeting.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Mr. Mayor?
Good evening. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Good evening.
Say happy holidays to all, and hopefully you're in better position than I am for Christmas, and you've done all your Christmas shopping. You must have, because you're here tonight. So we're grateful to have you all here. We're going to start right away with just recognizing the passing of Chester Mallory, We want to certainly acknowledge his service to the city, and I know there's a resolution that some of us have signed, but we'll ask for all the council members to sign, as he was not only a former chair of the airport authority, but just a civic leader, and we certainly offer our prayers and our moment of condolence to his friends and his family. With that said, I want to move right along to the financial summary. If we would, please bring that up. We did not present this at the last meeting, so I want to start here. Just a few highlights on the 4 categories of revenue collection in the city for the month of November. For the first slide, we'll take a look and see that revenue from sales and use taxes increased nearly 9% compared to the previous year. The economy continues to be stimulated from many of our residents purchasing locally and online. Since we're in the holiday season, we're hopeful that the revenue from sales and use taxes will be in the double digits for positive growth for the month of December. Year over year, the growth rate is more than 10%, which is certainly positive for all of us. Next slide, please. Year over year, lodging tax revenue has increased slightly more than 40%. That is, again, significant. Local hotels are definitely having higher room occupancy than they did a year ago, and that puts us in a much better position moving forward into 2023. This, again, we believe is proof that the economy continues to improve and continues to track along a positive pace. Next slide. We look at the gasoline tax revenue. We had positive growth rate of nearly 11% year over year. Although this revenue stream is down slightly from the previous month, the revenue stream is still moving in the right direction with double-digit growth. I'm expecting this trend to continue into January 23 because of travel during this holiday season. Final slide. Alcoholic beverage tax revenue declined significantly compared to the previous year, with negative growth rate of more than 17%. Year over year, the revenue stream has a negative growth rate of 5%. This percentage decline equates to a dollar difference of less than $50,000. Apparently, people are shopping more than they are consuming spirits. I'm expecting that December's numbers will show a positive growth because family and friends are expected to gather in significant numbers over the upcoming holidays to celebrate. Finally, once the majority of revenue from business licenses and ad valorem taxes have been posted to the general ledger, I will start presenting a report to you on the city's financial position as it relates to the collection of revenue and expenditures incurred. The first report will likely be presented in early March 2023. That concludes our financial summary. And now we want to recognize some of the good work that's been done here in the area of public health. The City of Montgomery recently won a $50,000 grant from the United States Conference of Mayors for Childhood Obesity Prevention and Environmental Health and Sustainability this year. Through this grant, the City of Montgomery was able to partner with Eat South to provide field trips to the urban farm and plan family days on Saturdays in the fall for families to come to the farm to learn about gardening, composting, and the gardening cycle. We also engaged Montgomery Public Schools to provide an aquaponic garden tanks in every pre-K classroom in the City of Montgomery. The tanks are combined a garden and aquarium into a self-sustaining ecosystem. Finally, we are proud to announce the expansion of the Regency Park Community Center garden, and through this grant, Regency Park Community Center will be receiving all new gardening equipment, a watering system, park benches and tables, a storage shed, and a greenhouse. The construction is currently underway, and the ribbon cutting is scheduled for mid-January. So we are excited about that. We want to thank our grants department for their work and all the other entities within the City of Montgomery who've helped to bring this about, as well as Eat South for their work in preventing childhood obesity and prevention. Now we want to also recognize our Central Alabama Neighborhood Health Initiative. One of our priorities in the administration has been to ensure better and more equitable health outcomes. And again, thanks to our grants department, we were awarded a $3.9 million grant by the Office of Minority Health of the United States Department of Health and Human Services to do just this. These funds have been allocated to conduct a comprehensive study of the state of health and wellness in the City of Montgomery, establish health and wellness hubs in the City of Montgomery, enhance COVID-19 testing, and hire community health workers. The funding will also help us with awareness and prevention efforts, including contact tracing, vaccination, and a multi-year marketing and information campaign to address health disparities and advance health literacy. To reach our goals, we took a collaborative approach and helped found the Central Alabama Neighborhood Health Initiative. This week, we were able to celebrate our partners, stakeholders, and volunteers who helped move the needle in our mission to ensure everyone has access to comprehensive health care. We want to thank all of you who were able to come out. We want to thank the City Council for your cooperation and participation in this, and we want to thank those who continue to work each and every day to make this possible. And again, our grants department has done a great job ensuring that we get access to federal dollars that are meant for communities like ours to subsidize what we're already doing through our general fund budget. Now, just two more quick items. I want to highlight that we're facing very frigid weather. Forecasts are calling for record low temperatures this week. We do want to remind the public and the council, if you would please, to uplift the message around the warming centers, in particular, the warming center on LeBron, which will be open Thursday through Tuesday, and they will welcome anyone who needs shelter from these frigid temperatures. If you see someone, they need a ride, we'll try to make sure we can provide rides if need be as well. And if people don't have a place indoors to sleep, we want to make sure that they are aware of the warming centers being provided by the city over on LeBron Road. Please also make sure you check on your neighbors, especially elders where this is concerned. Finally, as it relates to Christmas and the New Year, there's free ice skating on the riverfront now through New Year's Eve. We want to encourage the public and our residents to go out to the Montgomery Zoo. We also had the Camellia Bowl it says at noon, I thought it was at 11, but we'll figure out the time, on December 27th between Buffalo and Georgia Southern. And then we also had New Year's Eve on the riverfront from 9 p.m. to 1 p.m. featuring various music artists. So I was right, the Camellia Bowl is at 11 o'clock. We hope to see all of you all there. It's not at noon, you're going to be late and miss the kickoff. So the Camellia Bowl is at 11, but New Year's Eve will go from celebration in that riverfront park, will go from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Now, I won't be there at 1 a.m., but maybe some of y'all will be. Right after it drops at 12:01, I'm gone. So we do encourage all of you all to come out and have a good time, and we appreciate everyone's participation in this. So, Ms. Pro Tem, I'll turn it back over to you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any special committee to report?
Mr. Pro Tem,
Mr. Mitchell?
I have one ask of the mayor. Mayor, can we do a resolution? I don't know if you already did for Stephen Twitch, boss, to shine a light on mental illness and suicide. He put Montgomery on a platform that we hadn't been on, and I want to make sure that the city recognizes him.
It's already in the works, but yes, sir, we'll do that. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, first item.
Mr. Pro Tem, number 1, ordinance amending Chapter 13, Section 13-8 of the Code of Ordinances, fireworks.
All right. Public communication on item number 1, Ms. Avis Love Lewis.
I wanted to speak on this topic because I lived in fireworks environment in my home. Matter of fact, I left that home because of the hazard of fireworks being done on top, shooting on top of my house in my yard. I want to say to you, look at YouTube. I saw something on YouTube where one person had fireworks stored in their home. And I saw where it took out an entire neighborhood. See it for yourself. Please be careful what you do with these fireworks. And I hope y'all take responsibility and make good laws to prevent people from being terrorized in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1, need a motion? Come on, man.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Mr. Lyons, are you voting? I'm abstaining. Gonna be 6 with 1 abstention.
All right.
Ordinance carries.
All right.
Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land located at the northwest corner of Madison Avenue and North Perry Street, and one parcel located on the southwest corner of East Jefferson and North Perry Street from a T5 district to a T4 district.
All right.
Good evening, I'm Tanya Ingram, filling in for Tommy Tyson. I believe this rezoning was postponed at the last meeting. I was not here, I don't know the details of the reason.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nelson. All right, need a motion?
Mr. Calhoun,
Mr. Pruitt,
move to adopt.
you coming to speak to us on this, sir? Your name for the record?
I'm Jim Ensko. We are not requesting the zoning change to change the type of business that's always been here. But several years ago, the city adjusted the zoning in that area. Instead of making it a T4, which matched the type of business that was there, they made it a T5. And now we've got 2 new tenants ready to come in and do basically the same type work, automobile detailing, customizing. And the buildings are solid concrete, a total of 10 roll-up doors, so the vehicles are brought inside for service, or pits for servicing underneath, but we're not trying to change the type of business. We just want to get the zoning adjusted so that we can put the new people in there and they can get their licenses to operate. So,
Hey, man, some issues.
Mr. Pro Tem, if I can speak to that, we asked to carry that over, and I know we've started conversations with Mr. Ensko about this from the Director of Economic Development, in part because what our downtown plan has shown us is that there's an interest in retail in this space. There are interested parties of which we're trying to bring to the owners to transform what we have hotels going up right now to bring more retail in this space. That corner was or is one that has been looked at as one that they talked to the previous owners, or maybe they're still the current owners, about this. So once it became apparent that it was before the Planning Commission, they asked us if they could have a conversation with the ownership about potential purchase or transaction for that property.
Okay.
And again, that fits within the downtown plan for us to try to make downtown more pedestrian friendly and also to bring more retail to these areas surrounding our hotels.
Okay, so we really want
This is one of the people that is interested in opening up a business on Jefferson.
Hello, how are you? Good evening. My name is Adrian. My partner Jamal couldn't be here, but he does send his blessings and happy holidays. We are new young business owners. We already have an auto detailing. We care for business and we care for people's vehicles. We do ceramic coating, interior shampoo. We like an all-out spa for vehicles. So we believe, and we've already talked to Mr. Jim here, that our business can be of a great opportunity for people coming in and the new renovations that are happening downtown. So if you could please take that into consideration before these things are going on with the mayor just respectively said. We had already spoken to him.
I'm sorry, and you said that this says that the planning commission approved.
They did.
Approved it.
Mm-hmm.
The planning commission was not aware, nor were we of the interest by outside entities for this. Once we spoke to our planning director, he
Mr. Calhoun.
understood a little bit clearer.
Mr. Calhoun.
Mr. Pruitt.
Mr. Jenwright asked me to see if we couldn't get this through, but I do know it's in Marche's district, and I did not have a conversation with Marche.
Okay.
And like anybody else on this council, you know, I would hate for somebody else to vote something in their district. So, you know, while I hate to have to carry it over, but I think that's fair to Marche, because I'm not sure how she feels.
All right, we move to carry it over for 30 days?
Mr. Insco,
How many days?
30.
who owns the property, Mr. Insco?
Our family owns the property, and for the last 2 weeks since it was carried over, I have tried numerous times to make contact with the mayor's office. I can't get any return calls or
I don't think
any
that's true. I
contact
mean,
to tell
it's easy
me
to make that.
anything.
It's easy to
Nobody
say
has
that.
been in-
That's not true.
Nobody has
That's not
been in
true.
touch with me, so.
That's not true. That's not true.
Mr. Calhoun, I'd like
You-
to carry it
we-
over. I'd
we
like to carry it,
contacted
hey, Mr. Calhoun, until
It
next
is
council
true.
meeting. I don't
Okay.
want to wait 30 days.
All right, we'll carry it over for 2 weeks. We'll move on it on 2 weeks and wait on Mr. Johnson to come in. So that item number 2 has been carried over for 2 weeks.
Okay, I need Mr. Pruitt to withdraw his motion to adopt.
Okay, I'll do. And Mr. Insco, and listen.
And then now carry over.
And I want to share, Mr. Jenwright asked me to make sure we get this through, but I did not know that it was in Marche's district. And for that reason, I mean, I have a hard time making a motion in somebody else's district, and it may be the best thing since night baseball, but I don't know what Marche thinks, and I wouldn't want to step on her toes.
All right.
So for that, Mr. Calhoun, I
We're
withdraw.
losing money with all these delays, and nobody communicates.
I didn't know, but I promise you we will in the next 2 weeks. I promise you, and I'll get Marche to call you.
All right, item number, next item.
We're sorry about that. Just trying to give Councilwoman Johnson an opportunity to be here. But we
can't
do,
do that.
I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the young business owners, and we look forward to you doing some business in the city of Montgomery.
All right.
Item number 3, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only doing business as Divine Healing Sea Moss at 631D West Fairview Avenue.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Your name for the record?
Shakila.
Shakila. Your name for the record, ma'am?
I can't hear you.
Your name for the record?
For the record.
Your name?
Just give us your name.
What's my name for the record?
Yeah, she needs your name.
Oh,
Germany?
Thank you.
Okay, we've carried this over a couple times. Thank you, Ms. Germany, for coming back again. I know that some of the community members reached out to you and you had conversation with them. I have some here tonight as well. Conversation has not changed with them. They are not in favor of having additional alcoholic beverages being sold in that little small area over there. Parking has been brought up, like people getting in and out and all of that. It's just several different concerns on top of that. So I'm going to, ask this council to vote to deny that application that you have. I wish your business luck. I know you're going to do good over there. People been talking about your sea malls. I've seen your post on Facebook, so I know you're getting your, your name out there and people know that you're there. So I know your business will do well.
Need a motion?
Motion to deny?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. The resolution is denied.
All right.
Item 4, Carriage Hills Neighborhood Association to address council regarding community center.
All right, we have several, for number 4, Carl Struthers and Cornelius Maryland, Delaney of Finley,
Okay.
and Minister Murphy Green. If you guys will come forward, please.
Hey, and if you're here from our other neighborhoods, y'all please come stand with Carl and them. And Carriage Hills, y'all can come up as well, please. Y'all come on, don't be shy. Come on, Floyd. I see you sitting out there. Come
So
on.
who's the
Yes,
spokesman?
sir.
You're gonna be speaking, okay.
Yes, I'm Carl Strother. I'd like to thank for y'all allowing us the opportunity. Thank the President, City Council, Mayor, and everyone, and anyone who I missed for allowing us to come together to discuss this. But however, I'd like to also thank the opportunity to come and address you. Second, I would like to thank the Mayor and the City Councilman for supporting our holiday dinner. Last, I would like to thank the City of Montgomery leadership, including Neighborhood Services, Montgomery Police Department, and all involved for making Montgomery, Alabama a great city. You've done a great thing by getting the community center in Carriage Hill started, and I commend you. However, I would like to reflect on a moment back to my childhood in the 70s and 80s, as this applies to the purpose of the community center. My early childhood was on 2004 Dow Street in Augusta, Georgia, and my later childhood, preteen and teen years were on 2066 Hillsinger Road in Augusta, Georgia. I was greatly introduced to computers when I enrolled at the University of Tennessee, when we had to sign up for computer lab time. Now in the classrooms of higher learning, there are computers on every desk. The only thing I knew about Windows growing up was rolling the window up in the car or rolling it down when it became too cold or too windy, and I also letting the windows down in the house while it was too cold or too hot. Now we have Windows 11 on the market, and there are still many that cannot function in this environment. Operating a computer should be just as easy as driving a car. Today, this community center has the capacity to fill computer needs or various other needs of the community and objectives of those young and old. I remember the community centers growing up, especially during the summers, to direct and redirect energy to something other than trouble. Although we had only pool tables and ping pong tables, it was something to do until the pool opened. Once again, it was a great idea to get the project started, but I have noticed that there has been inactivity for 11 months, and we have a community need to know when this project will be completed. We understand that there has been initial investment of somewhere in the neighborhood of $242,000 already invested in this project, and we have somewhere in the neighborhoods of $900,000 to $1 million that are designated to this project. Can we please get an update on the status of completing this project, or what else is required to complete this project? Thank you for your attention. Best regards, and Godspeed. And those that are ready to speak, also ready to speak, you may step up and speak also.
Might be very brief. I'm Delaney Finley. I have been a resident in Carriage Hill for almost 26 years. And like our president just stated, we do have some concern about the neighborhood center. We know there were some questions about the design, the engineering concern some time ago, and we were led to believe that those have been taken care of. Our concern is this, that if the funds are there and you're ready to go with the project, we would like to see the city move forward with that. We think it would be a great addition to the Carriage Hill community. Many of our young people, as well as our old people, will benefit from that center. And so we think that it enhances the neighborhood, provides more opportunities for activity, and we just hope the city will move forward. As the president said, we thank you for the commitments that you've already made. We thank you for coming out to our meetings and hearing our concerns. Mr. Mayor, we know that you were at the last meeting, I believe. Some of us couldn't make it. We do classes on Thursday night, but please know that we appreciate all of your commitment to the city and to the neighborhood, but we do have some concern about this neighborhood center, and we would like to see you move forward with it.
Okay, can we get an update?
Good evening, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa. I'm Minister Murphy Green. I'm a resident of the Carriage Hill neighborhood. I understand that promises have been made. Funds have been allocated. Ground has been broken. But the city administration has stopped the project. We are amazed but not amused at all the things that you say that you do, though much concerned but uninformed with decisions that are made by you. But we are sick and tired of hearing the song telling us how you are going to change right from wrong. But if you really want to hear my view, you haven't done nothing. I'm here to humbly ask the city administration to move forward with the completion of the neighborhood community center for Carriage Hill. This is all I have to say.
Thank you.
One more, and then we're done.
All right.
My name's Cornelius Maryland. I want to speak on behalf of having a community center and the importance of having a community center. I am old enough to know a lot of different people over the years that were civil rights shakers and movers. And I had the privilege of knowing Chester Mallory. I worked with him when I was at Alabama State University. And I have several uncles that taught over Alabama State, and they were all community activists. And one of the things about the community, it teaches you how to work together, how to love one another, and think about all the benefits that are available at a community center. It unites the community. It helps other members that may be older that have some ownership in the process of helping young people. It helps young people realize the need to help others. It teaches people how to be self-determined and motivated to do something in the community, in the world, to make a difference. And I stand before you because I benefited from that. My old man was in the military, and I got a chance to, play basketball with the GIs, and they helped me and groomed me how to be a man. And then when I used to come home, well, when my dad came to Montgomery from being deployed, he would come and I would visit, and my parents, my grandmother lived in Trenton Court, and they had a community center. And that's when we all kind of got together and was able to learn from each other. You had older people that helped us. Teaching right and wrong, I guess early on I always thought everybody should know what right and wrong, but that's something you got to be taught. And that's something that you have to see among other members of the community. And that's something that we're missing today. So, council, city mayor, I would love for you guys to pass this and make it happen. Spend the money that's needed, because believe it or not, it's going to make a difference, not only in Montgomery, but also in the world, because you never know what people can accomplish. And I just want to leave it at that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank y'all so much. Hey, thank
Can we have an update?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, can we update them since at least they came tonight on a rainy,
Absolutely.
cold night?
Kippy, if you want to come up. Introduce yourself and your title. You introduce yourself and your title.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Kippy Tate. I am the Chief Building Official for the City of Montgomery. I agree with you 100%. Community centers are very good attributes for a community. I had the pleasure of being around most of the community centers in the city as a young boy in Montgomery. I'm from here, so I do understand the value of a community center, what it can mean to the community. That's where you learn how to fight, learn how to negotiate, find your first girlfriend and all that good stuff. So I know what it means to be at the community. Learn how to swim at the community center. But I will say this about this particular community center. Ladies and gentlemen, this project got started and a lot of things were out of sequence. Nothing to do with the funding, nothing to do with what's right and wrong. The problem was it got started out of sequence. What do I mean by that? Well, we actually had the project start without the proper approvals from the necessary departments within the city and state government. That was one area that we have to get corrected, and we were in that path of doing so. Another area of concern, and my office did stop the project, by the way. My office had the authority to do that because, quite frankly, the architectural drawings that were presented were not adequate at the time. So material got ordered that you see out there now. The project was not fully designed at the time that it came to my office. So for the benefit of the life safety of the people that will be using the center, we stopped the project. So where are we now? We are bringing all of the community centers online that are part of a study that we're doing, not just CalMar, but other projects that are involved with some of the ARPA funding. And we have a program manager that's assisting us with all of the projects, and CalMar will be included in that. And it's my anticipation, I'm calling it CalMar. It's on CalMar Drive. That's the name of the project, I'm sorry. It's on CalMar Drive. So now what we will be doing is raising up CalMar along with the rest of the projects, and then they'll be prioritized from there.
Mr. Calhoun?
Ms. Pruitt?
We still have not heard an answer, Mayor. You know, prioritizing, these people come down here. We started this project 8 years ago. And every problem, and they're aware of all the problems, the building was built backwards.
What'd you say, Glenn? It was what now?
Yeah, it was built backwards.
That's a problem.
It was built backwards. I've shared every bit of this information with you guys. This has been corrected since June or July of this year. The funding has been in place. We got the last $700,000 in August. And telling these people that came down here on a rainy night, we're going to prioritize after 8 years. That's not the answer that these people came down here to look for. That's y'all's community center. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And this council ought to be upset.
Mr. Pruitt, I would like to say something now, because you've been in this with us.
Yes.
We don't have an architect to this point.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
He has his SAMs. Yes, he does.
He doesn't have a contract.
Exactly.
That's my point. You can't proceed without these pieces in place.
After item number 6, we will have a contract.
Yep. But at this point, we don't
I
have those
understand,
pieces in place.
but we
to
have
move
put
forward.
these people off and put these people off. And I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry.
Well,
I apologize.
let's hold on one second. Hold on. Let's hold on one second.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with the grandstanding. So one, I wasn't here 8 years ago. So let's start there. Now, if you want to take account for the mistakes you made before we were in here, then you take responsibility for the mistakes you made, and there've been a hell of a lot of them. That's number one.
Well, share with me, Mayor.
The
You're not
second
gonna sit here and
thing,
berate
let me
over
say
a
this.
project.
I'm just getting started. The second thing is, we don't do things just in time. So when there's an issue that is brought to my attention, we look at it from the city standpoint. We are the fiduciaries for the taxpayers' money, not you. Now, anytime you want to run at large, if you want to change all these council districts, we can always run citywide, then we can do it. Last time I checked, I'm the only person who's been elected countywide and citywide. So I'm the fiduciary for the financial responsibility of this city, not you. It's not your name on it, and it won't be your name on it. So when there's an issue that's brought up around taxpayer funds, we take that very seriously, Mr. Pruitt. Now, maybe you don't.
The money has been, hold on, Mayor.
It's
The
not a
money
matter
has
of
been allocated.
It's not a matter of
You
allocating the
signed
dollars.
it.
It's not a matter of allocating the dollars. So as you and I talked about with my chief of staff, we told you this project would be completed and it would have your daughter's name on it. So we want to get to that. We talked about that in private, and we made that commitment to you. But we also told you that we heard from other elected officials in other communities who felt like you jumped the line. And we jumped the line.
Does anybody on this council think I have jumped the line
that's
in 8
irrespective.
years?
I'm talking right to you, Mr. Pruitt. I'm not talking to the other council members and anybody in this body.
I'm asking.
So you have brought the people here and you haven't told them all the facts.
They know every single thing, Mayor.
Well, I'm going to make sure they do. So we told you it would be completed. We told you it would have your daughter's name on. What we told you was we had to prioritize because there had been other issues that had been brought about for longer than 8 years that we were told about of people who felt like their community centers had not been addressed, who had been made promises prior to 2019. And so what we have done is we asked our program manager, along with our chief building official, to give us a priority in terms of needs assessment. Where should we start? What's in the worst condition? Where should we allocate the resources? And how should we go about doing that? And that's how we're going to proceed. So as it relates to all the folks in Carriage, many of this group that I know, and many of whom I'm proud to know, we are going to complete this project. But from our standpoint, we have to take the position of representing the entire city. We don't have the luxury of just looking at it street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. So when we hear that there have been other projects that also need attention, we ask our program manager to get with us and let us know how should we prioritize how we move forward. So now, when will it be completed? I would love for a lot of the projects. We passed the Montgomery Ford initiative. We thought the fire station would be completed by now. It is not. Now, we could rush it and we could give you a halfway done fire station for us to come back and say in 5 years, we shouldn't have done it this way. I don't believe in doing that. I believe in doing what's right. I believe in doing it right, and I'm going to do it correctly. Now, some people want to just give you something just to say they gave you something so they can get reelected. They want to be able to say, see what I did for you? They don't care how it looks. They don't care whether or not it can stand a strong storm. They just want to be able to say, this is what I did. So what we're going to do under this administration, we're going to do it right. We're not going to build it cheap. We're not going to build it rushed. And if it takes us a little bit extra time to do it properly and to do it with a level of excellence from Hoover to Auburn, we're going to be proud of it. And that's what I commit to. And I apologize if it takes a little bit longer, but we're going to do these things right, and we're going to do them best in class. And that's how we're going to handle each and every project that we do.
Mr. Calhoun, can I?
Mr. Pruitt.
Mr. President.
Hang on a second. No, Carl, hold on a second.
Let me ask one question here. Now that this project has gotten started, I'm in the, I'm very concerned that there's some rebar sticking out of the ground and all that. Is there any way to build some protective barriers around that until we can get all this straightened out? Because somebody could get in there and get hurt real bad.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I have spoken with the city engineer about that situation, about having all of that, I'll say, encapsulated so that you can prevent some of that problem that you have, as well as the erosion control. We've talked about that already.
Yeah, and that really needs to be done very, very, because see, we have some very mischievous young folks
Right.
in our neighborhood. And what's going to happen is they're going to get in there and get curious or whatever, and somebody's going to be injured very badly. So, you know, if possible, can we come back in a month and we have some more information, or is that possible?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun.
Mr. Pruitt.
Yeah, let me finish this and we'll move on. Mayor, I enjoyed your speech when you said give you something to say, you give something to get reelected. When we first started this project, we had $400 and some odd thousand. When we got involved and we met every week, 3 o'clock, we went back and got $765,000. It now is a $1.2 million contract. So to say that we're going to build something just to build something is absolutely not true. And y'all know this. So.
I just wanted to say something. I guess coming to the city hall, you know, I had different expectation of what I just saw today. And I'm listening to you as far as why things are not being done. I'm a can-do kind of guy. So tell me, what kind of timelines? How much ownership do you have in the process? What are you looking at doing? Because when you say these things can't be done, it got out of order or whatever, how are you going to put it in order? What kind of things are you doing? Are you guys meeting in council to get this resolved? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor.
Because
talk to us. And he can
okay.
talk to us.
Okay. But I don't understand. You know, the mayor talks about spending money that's our money, taxpayers' money. And I understand you're doing it for the city. But by golly, you got to do something. All the money that was spent already, that's wasted money. You know what I'm saying? It's a loss. So take ownership, get a process done, meet with on a regular basis, put it out there. I'm sure you got internet, and keep us appraised of the process. It shouldn't be that complicated. If the government was run like the private sector, we wouldn't be talking about this.
The private sector not perfect.
Yeah, I know that.
I worked in the private
I know
sector.
that, but it moves a little faster than where you guys are
I
going.
would agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the city mayor, he's angry, and I don't understand it. Let's get it done.
Okay.
Make it happen.
Mr. Tate.
I want to say this.
Let Mr. Tate go ahead and talk, and then we'll close this out. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, you asked me to be accountable, and I'm going to stand here and be very accountable to you.
Yeah, and let me follow up on that then.
Well, let me say this to you and to the rest of the folks that's involved. Since we're putting it down where the goats can get on it, let's put it down where the goats can get on it. This project would not be where it is right now today had it not been for my office. This project would have been in violation of federal law, state law, and city municipal laws had it not been for my office. And I'll tell that to anybody. Now, had we been meeting? Of course we've been meeting. You wouldn't have had the information for your council person to bring back to you had it not been for meetings in my office.
So where are you now?
Well, let me say this. Where is it now? The mayor just told you where it is now, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this right now. You continue to build a building in this current state of mind, and none of you could use it because we couldn't approve it. Why couldn't we approve it? Because the drawings are inadequate. The construction that's in place now is not proper. And so we put life safety measures in place ahead of anything. And that's how we're going to proceed, period. When it does proceed, after we get all the information that's requested, then you'll have a safe center to enjoy the things that you just mentioned in your presentation. Otherwise, you got a building at this point that's pretty much unsafe.
Mr. Tate.
Yes, sir.
I've told them you were the bus driver. And I even in the mayor's, in our meeting, I suggested that you run the $52 million that we got to fix our community centers. Without you, we would absolutely not be where we are today. But we're at a point because of that. We're ready to go to work. And that's all I'm saying is we're ready to go to work. with the contract, we're ready to go. That's what I'm saying.
And so,
That's all
thank
I'm
you
saying.
thank you for that, Mr. Pruitt, but I will say this about the 52 million or whatever you just said, that's fine. When you have multiple projects like this now, at one time, this was the only project. It has been coupled now with the rest of the community centers, and my bosses asked for it to be prioritized, and that's what I intend to do.
All right.
Yeah, let's go, CC.
Hey, okay.
I'd just like to ask a question to the mayor and to Mr. Tate. You keep talking about prioritizing, and I don't know how many community centers there are in the city. I know there's quite a few. So if it's 12, what number are we in the priority line?
So let me answer the question this way. The program managers that we have now, they do what you call facility condition assessments, and they prioritize them based on the cost and the feasibility of moving forward with the additions or renovations and so forth. That study has not been complete yet, so I'm not sure where you are at this point, but there's 22 other centers involved now, and once that study is complete, you'll have an answer.
Do you have any timetable on when that study might be complete?
We meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and we will get answers and schedules based on the concerns that you have, but from a project management perspective, these are the same answers that I'm asking for.
Okay, so when you meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock, is there any chance that any of you will know where we stand in this process? Are we going to be number 22? I think so.
Well, here's the thing. I don't see any reason why that would be a problem. We will get the study back from the program managers. I'm not sure how long it's going to take until we meet tomorrow, but that seems to be a reasonable time. That the first of the year or somewhere in that time frame, that will be in order to give you an answer.
And how will we get this information?
We already said we're going to come back in a month. They're
Well,
going to have something in a month.
I think the communication at this point needs to go through your council.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is that when you get your report in the next few days, you will get that information over to our council person.
Ma'am, I'm not going to say I'm getting a report in the next few days because that's not accurate.
Okay.
It's going to be some time, but when the report is complete, it's a public document.
I thought I just heard you say it was going to be completed.
Okay. You got it.
Let me clarify.
Mr. Tate, we're going to move on. I'm going to let Mr. Pruitt, if you can facilitate this with Mr. Tate and this group, you guys come together on the thing, 'cause we're going to be going all night about when
And
we're
that's
gonna
how
get
it's been going to this point, so we're
Okay.
good with that.
All right.
Hey,
We'd like to thank y'all. We really appreciate what you've done, and we understand what's going on. But however, we said a month. So if you can get some back to us within a month, we would greatly appreciate that. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you.
Mr. Pro Tem, item 5, ordinance authorizing the ARPA funds to be divided equally between the 9 council districts and authorizing a council committee to oversee bid process for funds.
Mr. Pruitt?
I don't think we need to have any discussion. I don't think unless y'all do.
I would like to hear from Levitate. We just got here from them in one session.
Well, I have Levitate. If you got Terry and Susan, if you guys can come up.
They're on.
They're on
Mr.
item
Calhoun,
number 12.
They're on down in the item.
Yeah,
list.
item number 12.
Yeah, but
Item number
we
12.
about to vote on this now, correct, Pro Tem?
Yes.
I have some questions I would like to.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Levitate. Susan.
It's a little difficult to hear, I'm sorry. Susan Kennedy, and I'm with Levitate.
Okay.
You want us to speak to this, or?
Yeah, just real quick, I just want to know, so we can know, bottom line, what money have we already, I think we're in what phases are we at now, and what money has already been allocated? Because a lot of people think that we are not doing it and think that we have been in this thing 2 years, and I think we're coming up on 1 year. So if you can kind of talk about what phases we are at and what money has already been allocated.
Thank you for having us this evening. Terry Reynolds with Levitate Legal. So first, I'll speak to the timeline. So we were brought on in October of last year, and we started a committee process where we worked through some of the needs, the top line needs. The final rule came out
on how these funds could be expended from U.S. Treasury on January 6th of this year. And so as we talked in our early discussions, there was an interim rule that was out, but the general consensus was let's wait until that final rule comes out so that we're very clear that everything that we're moving forward with would be done in compliance with federal guidelines. So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that final rule being publicized by U.S. Treasury. So I do want to put that out there. As far as the projects that have been completed or that are in the procurement process, and I'm talking off the top of my head, Susan, so help me where I'm missing out. So the two things that have closed, and two of which are on your agenda tonight, are the broadband study and the sewer septic assessment. The broadband study will provide really a comprehensive overview of high-speed internet and broadband here in the city and county to better position both entities to go after federal funding and to really give you a full snapshot of where our community stands with broadband. There's also components in there to look at citywide camera system, which was also listed as one of the phase 2 priorities. The other is the sewer septic plan, which will focus in on those 4 priority communities that you all identified and will result in an action plan for how to move forward with those funds. Then as far as programs, the hospital violence-based intervention program, that has completed the procurement process. Your city staff and county staff are working on the evaluation now. Those teams have been put together. We expect to have those evaluations back before the end of the year. The small business support program that closed yesterday with the city. So those evaluation teams will also be moving forward with evaluating those proposals. The critical home repair program closed today with the county. And so, again, those evaluation teams, city staff and county staff have been working together to go through those evaluation rubric and making those recommendations. The body cams for both, the county has completed those and they've awarded that. The city's process is near completion and it should be at a place of award soon. What am I missing?
Mental health.
Mental health, yes. Mental health care star, that will be on your agenda at the next meeting, and I'll give you a brief overview. We discussed this at the county meeting today. So they have had to move forward with the construction of that building because they get that state allocation of $7 million. So they could not wait on the allocation here. As your team will tell you, and as we've been saying, there's certain risk assessments and compliance checklists that have to be met, and there was an issue that came up in our risk assessment process with them when we were looking at helping them complete construction of the building. They were in the process of trying to correct that, and we could not move forward without that being corrected. So what has happened is they've spent operating money to move that construction forward. So we will be coming to you guys to look at amending that resolution. It's more technical in nature, but we want to make sure, because these are federal funds and because the audit processes are stricter, we want to make sure that the resolutions that are passed and considered align with how that money will be expended. But there's no reason, with you guys' agreement, that contract could not move forward after you approve it at your next meeting.
And also the recreational facility upgrades at the YMCA.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question. When you said closed, those are basically RSVs that went out. No contracts have been signed with them.
No contracts have been signed. So what will happen, the way that process works is your staff will come back with a recommendation based on which vendor put together the best proposal. After that comes back, a notice of intent to award will go out to all of the proposals, and it'll say who the top proposer was. Then from there, staff, with our assistance, will work with that top proposer to see if we could negotiate something that is agreeable to both the city and the county. If so, that contract draft will be brought back. It would have to be reviewed through all of the protocols here and at the county, and then it would come to you guys for review and approval, and then back to the mayor for signature.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell?
I'm done. Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
So for a total, I'm not exactly sure, but I think we've allocated 50.
We've, about 64-ish has been allocated, the programs that we've just gone through. I didn't add up the exact numbers, it's between 30 and 40 million.
And again, Terry, can I ask a quick question piggybacking off of Audrey? That's 64 that has not had contract signed. That's not contract signed. That is what's
That
been
is allocated?
allocated, not,
Yes, and
okay.
then with what has gone through procurement, if we keep moving within the next 4 weeks or so, by the end of January, about 30 to 40 million of that will be in a pipeline to be expended.
What do we have contract signed today?
Contract signed today,
Well, the body cams for the county, I think we have to come back before you guys.
Okay.
Before the contracts get signed, like the discussion earlier. I don't know what your normal procurement process is, but for the Montgomery Thrive Initiative, we've committed to come back before the council before any contracts are signed. And so, we have contracts that are coming through the procurement process for these sewer services and for the small business assistance program and for the critical home repair. Those will be coming through so that we can get those programs implemented so that people can start to receive those funds. But those contracts, once a vendor is selected by the city and the county teams, those contracts will come back before you.
Okay.
and Councilor Pruitt, if I may, and I'm looking at the city attorney to tell me if I'm running afoul here, if I'm saying too much, but typically, when you guys allocate money with general fund money to nonprofits or whoever, and you use public purpose doctrine to get that money out, the review and risk assessment process bar is not very high there, okay? You just have to kind of check the box that it meets a public purpose and whatever standards you guys have in place. This is different. So you can't just decide, you could just decide that you want to spend the money and we could do a contract and get it out, but that's going to get you in a high-risk category when you're going through that federal audit, that anybody who gets over $750,000 in federal money is going to have to go through. What does that mean? That means that the risk assessment and procurement process takes a little longer. CareStar is a great example of that, and they've done a great job of meeting everything we've asked for them, but there was a flag in that procurement process that had we moved forward without that analyzation, it could have potentially impacted you guys when it came time for audit findings. So when you're talking about contracts signed, that is the reason that it takes longer in this process than what you're traditionally looking for, because our job is to do everything that we can to protect you as an entity from audit findings, and we want to do everything in compliance. So that I do want to be clear that the time that you're looking at, that is why. That will have to happen if you guys move forward with this in 9 different pots.
So, Mr. Pro Tem, I ask a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
So, when you say audit findings, if you run afoul of federal audit findings, what are we talking? Can you translate that for me?
It depends on how bad it is, but I mean, you could look at, it's what they call suspension and debarment. I mean, if it's bad enough, it could preclude you from getting federal funding. So all these great grant opportunities that are coming in, you know, if this isn't done right, it can make it much harder to go after future funding.
So, Mr. Pro Tem,
go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
That's part of my hesitation in this. One is the risk that it puts the city in doing. So that's everything from housing and urban development, that's everything from water and sewer, that's everything that we would get from federal agencies. That's commerce, that's minority business agency, that's small business, that's Department of Energy, that's agriculture. I want everybody to understand what we're talking about here, because you know we think that it's a free-for-all and it's all this cash that's out here. There are processes and there are layers that, one, we all as a joint committee asked Levitate to go through for us on behalf of the city and the county. It wasn't just a matter of did we have city staff, did we have county staff. The other aspect of it was to make sure that we're in compliance, because you violate that, and it can only take one person. So it doesn't have to be all 9. It doesn't have to be 5 on the county commission. It only takes 1. And I know from the League of Municipalities, and I know from the Big Ten mayors that there are cities in our congressional district right now which cannot get federal funding for water and sewer because they have run afoul of these very things. They cannot get it regardless if Congresswoman Sewell wants them to get it, if Senator Shelby wants them to get it, or Senator Tuberville wants them to get it. They cannot accept it. And so it sounds great in theory, and again, it meets a level of expediency, but it doesn't meet the level of propriety when it comes to getting and making sure that funds are received and allocated appropriately. And I just want this council to be understanding because it only takes one person. And then the question becomes, well, how did we get here? And how do we end up here? Because we're doing things with a short-term perspective, with an individual mindset, as opposed to a long-term view with a collective approach. And that's what we talked about 2 years ago when we came together with the city and the county. That's what we talked about when we brought Levitate on to protect all of us, to make sure that we were doing these things on behalf of the city and the county that would not put us in jeopardy of not being able to receive any federal dollars, of which we received many. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, and you made it clearer than I understood it even initially myself. So I appreciate that, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Not a question, just comment. I appreciate the information that Levitate gave and the mayor's comments. And I just think the 9 of us, even though we're missing 2, there is no opinion from us that we plan to just hastily do anything. We still plan to be very advised with whatever we do, whether we stay collectively or individually, because we do understand the magnitude of where we are. So I do want to say that so that the people will understand as you listen to this that we realize this is it's a big deal. It's not something small, nothing we're doing lightly. But at the end of the day, we are trying to make sure that we work in the best magnitude for people and that money get into the communities. So I appreciate the information everybody just shared so that we'll all have that knowledge going forward.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Graham. Mr. Pruitt?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Five. I have 2. Are you, Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Mitchell, are y'all noes or abstains?
I'm no.
Mr. Mitchell? We have 2 noes, so that it'll be carried over for lack of suspension of rules.
And I'm a no because basically what we said, we have been working with Levitate for a year, 2 years on this money, and I'm reiterate that coming up to try to split it 9 ways. I know we all work hard for our district, but I think we have a plan going forward when we looked at the big bang for our buck with the county and the city coming together to try to impact Montgomery. And I just think this is the wrong thing to do. We're talking about splitting it 9 ways, and that's why I don't know. Thank you.
Item 6, ordinance establishing and appointing a 3-person board of council members to execute contracts on behalf of the council.
Mr. Pruitt?
Do we need to discuss this, Mr. President, or Mr. Calhoun?
We can discuss it.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Setting up a 3-person board to execute contracts on behalf of the city.
Okay. Any other discussion? Again, I'll say, that's sticky when we talk about contracts on behalf. We're a legislative branch. We make the laws. We don't do the day-to-day operation. So when it comes to the council approving contracts and assigning contracts, I just don't think that's the right thing to do. We have people on staff, legal. We have all these people that we pay to do this. So we are the legislative branch of government. We can't not get into the day-to-day operation. That's not our job. So, Mr. Pruitt, I'll take your motion. Any other discussion?
I do. I want to say something. We talked. I don't know, Miss Lewis standing right there. Anyway, we talked about this in our work session. We had our legal attorney, our senior legal attorney, talk with us about how the law reads on this. And I'm quite sure Mr. Pruitt was going to say that. The goal on this is not to take any authority from the process that we got in place. Still gonna go through procurement, finance, all of that stays the same. That doesn't change. We're not changing that. I just want that to be clear in case you wasn't at the work session and you missed that. Those measures are going to stay in place to make sure we are in line and that it is right. Legal will still have their eyes on everything to make sure it's all done right. So I agree. We are a legislative branch, but if the law states that contracts should be voted on by this council, then we need to make sure we're, following the law. And if that's what the law states and that's what our senior attorney said to us, then we definitely need to make sure we're doing that. So, yeah.
So,
And may I address one thing about something about this ordinance and the way it's worded? And I know I addressed it briefly during work session, but what this ordinance is addressing is actually executing contracts. You've got two different issues. You've got the authority to enter into contracts, which when we discussed giving any kind of blanket authority to the mayor to enter into contracts, much like some other municipalities do, that's one issue. Mm-hmm. The authority to execute contracts really is just designating someone to sign those contracts, whether that be the mayor or in other situations it's been a council president or another individual official of the city to execute the contract. That's just signing the contract after it's been approved. So what this ordinance is doing is just assigning the duty to sign a contract to a three-person board.
I like the 9-member board.
But all of them, I guess we need to do a resolution that brings all of the contracts back before the council to be approved on before they're signed by anybody. Because that's what you basically said, the law says that those contracts should be approved to have a resolution to go along with them before they're signed, that the council members say nay or yay to that contract. Is that what my understanding was, what you said to us earlier?
It is, and I guess specifically I'm saying to this ordinance, a board really can't sign a contract. An individual has to sign a contract. And we're talking about the actual signing of a contract. That's what this ordinance is dealing with. And as to what Councilor Graham stated, there doesn't need to be a resolution to bring to say that the contracts are going to come before the council. That's the process that needs to be put in place. And,
So Mr. Pro Tem.
And I believe the mayor's office is working with the finance department to get that fine-tuned, because in the fiscal policy right now, that step is not in there. Right now, it goes to the mayor's office for approval, and there is no step in that process to come before the council with a resolution to review the contract and for approval.
Okay.
Mr. Pro Tem. And I guess my question to Councilor Graham, I guess we don't want every last contract, because we don't want $1,000, $200 contract. I guess we have to set that bar of having the mayor to have that blanket and have that authority to sign those contracts that's under a certain amount.
Well, that's something we need to discuss if that's what we want to do.
Yes.
Right, absolutely.
And I agree with that.
That's where Birmingham put $10,000 and NDAs in there.
To enter into contracts.
Let me say this. I want everybody in the public to hear this. It seems like there's some things that's happening now. We got a black mayor that didn't happen before. And I just want to call it out right now. So it seems like there's a willingness to try to gut the power of the mayor's office now. And Mr. Pruitt, if you want to just say this dates back because I didn't support you to be city council president when Mr. Jenwright ran, then I would just appreciate you saying that to the entire public. But what I get right now is that there's an attempt to strip the mayor of Montgomery of some of the power and authority. Now let me say this, you can do what you want to do, and those who want to be party with that can be party with that, because your district's going to suffer, and you're going to have to talk to the people of your district. That said, the council can do whatever it wants to do. If you want to be the mayor, Mr. Pruitt, I would suggest you sign it. I think you're capable. You think you know how to run the city. You think you should be the president, mayor, and everything else. Then you ought to sign it. You don't need to come through the finance department or the legal department. If that's what you want to do, then sign it. You and your committee sign it. And we can run it like that. That's not an issue for me. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to address the people.
Hey,
You're going to have to. I'm talking right now. So I'll let you
Mr.
talk
Calhoun,
just a
is
little
this the
bit.
city council
I'm
meeting?
just seeing a little something that I want to put on Front Street, as I like to say.
All right.
Because I'm seeing an attempt to strip this mayor that I ain't never see you try with no other mayors. No other mayors. That just didn't look like me. But that's okay. See, I call a spade a spade. So let me just say this.
This is a city council. Let me
Whatever
respond to
you're
that.
gonna do,
Are you done?
what I would suggest is this. Be ready for it. Listen, when we don't get the federal funding, don't say I didn't tell you so. Because you know what? I'm gonna say I told you so.
Let me.
And if you want to sign on to this and you believe that this is in the best interest, just as you're trying to go back on the word that we gave the county commission, that we gave the people of this county and this city, of how we would work together on the ARPA dollars so you can have some short-term wins at the expense of water and sewer and infrastructure, which we're not going to be able to do. And you know we're not going to be able to do that water and sewer project, because if you divide it into 9, which y'all just did, the county commission, and I would encourage them to divide it into 5. So if you want to take this approach, then I just prefer you just to put it out there and just say what it is. And I just did, if you don't.
All right, Mr. Pruitt. Yeah, Ms. Graham.
Mr. Mayor, that is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. Listen,
Seems like it.
you think, okay, look, I gave you the respect. You give me the respect, all right? You said if y'all want to sit up here and vote with him, your district is going to suffer. Do you want to know exactly why I'm doing this? Because we've jerked these people around in Carriage Hills. I'm trying to execute a contract to build a $1 million.
So you're gonna sacrifice the whole city and the county for one community center?
It ain't got.
That's the definition of small-minded.
Okay.
That's the definition of short-sighted.
All right, we're going to move on past this point.
That's the bottom line, and that's why I'm doing it.
Ms. Graham.
Up to you. You're going to explain it, and so will those who
My
voted for it.
district is already suffering.
When they don't get the water and sewer in West Montgomery and North Montgomery, y'all can explain it.
Okay.
Well, and see, and that's one of the things I'm trying to prevent from happening. And I definitely don't want the
We
people
can't do
of
it
West
without the
Montgomery
county,
to
Ms. Graham. We can't do it without the
I mean,
county.
but when I just had a whole meeting last night with the people in my district, and the conversation was $15 million going to Madison Park, and then we're gonna circle back to West Montgomery. Ain't nobody gonna come back to the table and put no money in West Montgomery. When we put $15 million over there, it's done.
I wasn't at that meeting.
But I was there, and Levitate was there, and the county commission, 2 county commissioners was there, and the legislators was there, and that was the conversation they had. They told that to us. So, Mr. Mayor, at the end of the day, I feel like we still suffering in District 4. Nobody's, and when I say something, they say, oh, well, we hear you, but you got to get in line and be prioritized. All I'm saying is, give the people in Madison Park something. Don't take nothing from them, but don't make West Montgomery the afterthought. Give it to us too. We should be able to bid contracts.
I don't think anybody gets
in both
anything.
sides.
I don't think there are any winners in this, unfortunately. They're just not when we divide it up.
But if we don't pay attention to all parts of the house, then we leave some parts out. And we don't have enough money to do it all. And we know that. And so I just don't want to continue to be in this pattern, because right now the ball is rolling, and it's been had by too many different people that says we're going to come back to West Montgomery. Not that we're going to do anything for them, but we're going to come back to them. Let us do this. Extra pots coming down, more money coming from here. You know, that's what I keep hearing. And then we're going to wait on the water board to see what they're going to do. Those are conversations that we keep having, but the water board done already said what they're going to do. Nothing. They said that. When we had you had Philip Ensler on, and he was leading up there, and every month we met, you had us to be on those phone calls and talk. The water board was very adamant about they were not going to give any money to put sewer in the ground. Very adamant. Their conversation has not changed about that. So if we saying West Montgomery, wait, let's see what ADM gonna give us through the water board, that's nothing. I already know that. I mean, I got to be honest with my people. I can't tell my people that you're gonna get something waiting on the water board. I just can't tell them that, because I don't believe that's gonna really happen. So if they don't get something now, they won't get anything. And I just think the way we heading, because the conversation that we keep having, it's just all focused in one area. And I feel like we missing out on West Montgomery, and I don't know how to get attention to say that we got to do something in West Montgomery too, other than to say what other way can we get in. And this is just a way that maybe we can get in West Montgomery and get something done. Maybe we don't, maybe we do, but right now it's for certain. This is not the conversation that's being had. We're going to include West Montgomery. The conversation that's being had is we're going to come back. And I just know when we come back, ain't going to be nothing left. Right. And I just can't let my people be left like that, saying, well, I sat there and just said, well, let them do them first and we'll see where we land. That just ain't happening. And I don't know what else to give them. Now, if you have another conversation we want to have with them, that's fine. But it's not about me threatening. I'm a black woman, so I'm not trying to threaten you as a black mayor. That's absolutely not my position. But my position is I got to fight for my people. And if this one way that I think I can fight, I'm gonna fight. It's not about you, Mayor.
Ms. Graham, I fight for all the people of the city and the county. So all the people of whether they voted for me or not, or voted at all, they all my people.
That's how I feel.
So when we look at this, we can't look at this with a short-sighted lens. And what I'm saying to you is, what you just did and what Councilor Pruitt is proposing doesn't help anyone. Now, it helps him in a way to try what he thinks will get him to the end game. The money is already appropriated, so it had no reason to be. The money is already allocated by the joint committee. The county already agreed to that, along with another major community center in South Montgomery. So the money allocation wasn't an issue. The process is the process. And what Mr. Pruitt doesn't understand, because he's not an executive, he hadn't been in the private sector, he hasn't been a mayor or a probate judge, he doesn't know how to run government day to day, is that there are processes and procedures that go along with this. There are processes and procedures that take time that we just can't circumvent for all the people of the city of Montgomery, Pike Road, Grady, Hopewell, and Raymer, and anywhere else in the county. And what we did and what we're doing here is not only, again, I believe when you give somebody a word, you keep it. And we gave the county commission, we gave the people of this county our word. So we're going back on that. So I don't know how you rectify that. But the second piece of this is, what you're doing in no way uncertain terms is not going to get anyone anything that they want any faster. If anything, you are going to convolute and slow this process down further. And had the question been about the water in West Montgomery, had you asked me, I would have explained that to you. I would have explained that to you. But listen, I just like to put things real out front and real clear. And that's just how I believe in talking. And so that's just what I want to make sure I said. I appreciate the Pro Tem for allowing me to speak. I'll speak a little bit more another time. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Ms. Avis Lewis, you want to speak to us on item number 6, and we'll call for the question.
Yes, I wanted to find out, how can a citizen get more involved and seeing these contracts before they are passed? I can't say I can see my city council person because he don't recognize me. When I call, he don't return the call back. So is there another process that I'm not the only one that told me that city council person don't call him back. Is there any way we citizens can get involved in these contracts, see these contracts before they're signed? That's all I want to know. And don't say go on web or go on Zoom. Y'all haven't trained me that. I'm military. I have no clue about doing that. Even if you put them in the library, I'll go get a copy from the library. How can we citizens get more involved?
Thank you. It's all public knowledge, Ms. Avis Lewis. That's what Levitate was talking about. Everything will be public knowledge as these contracts are delivered.
Okay, where are they?
They're right there. See them?
I know they are right there. Where are the contracts? I can read for myself. I was 21 years military service. Where are the contracts? I want to read them.
We got you.
Let the other people read them.
Everything we do is public knowledge.
Where are they, sir?
I think they're online.
I just told you I don't know how to go online, and lots of more people don't know how to go online, and lots of more people don't Zoom. I've been trying to get in the program here since 2016 to learn all of this. Y'all have denied me, okay? Put them in the library, please. I'll go to the library and see a copy of them.
Yes, ma'am.
And so can other citizens.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Pruitt?
Move suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
There's suspension of rule is denied, and 5 and 6 is no. So this item is carried over to the next meeting. Item 7, ordinance consenting to disposal of certain real property by the Waterworks and Sanitary Sewer Board on Wasden Road.
All right, need a motion?
What, don't-
That's
Anthony
Washington
Michael?
Road, yep.
Oh, this the one we just read.
Yeah.
Motion to, suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
And before we adopt, let me just say, in case there's someone out here want to know, this is something that came before the city council about a month ago. It was not, the deal was not closed, so we just have to do a additional resolution, nothing new, same piece of property, same project, just so you'll know. Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 8, ordinance amending section 3-15 of the Code of Ordinances, Entertainment Districts.
Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, please raise your hand. I got a discussion. Mr. Bob.
Unanimous.
Mr. Bob
Magoo. Yeah, thank you for your hard
Okay,
work, Bob.
thank you. Go ahead, Clay.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Okay.
Thank you.
William, you did vote yes on that, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Item 9, resolution amending resolution number 159, 2013, Downtown Entertainment District, and creating 2 additional entertainment districts.
Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 10, resolution authorizing and directing the finance director to execute and deliver to the plan administrator the amendment to implement Secure Act and other law changes.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Mr. Grimes? Mr. Grimes?
Yeah, I was up.
Unanimous.
Sorry.
Resolution is adopted. Item 11, Councilor Johnson has requested this one be carried over. Is that the consensus of the council?
Yes.
Item 12, resolution approving broadband study and sewer engineering services for the Montgomery Thrive Initiative.
Susie, Terry, you guys want to talk on this one?
This is the same thing that Terry mentioned earlier. This would be the contract coming back before y'all. This authorizes the negotiation for us to award these bids and to negotiate with the highest bid, with the lowest bidder, sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
Most qualified bidder on these 2 items.
All right, need a motion?
Listen, before we do a motion, because again, I had that conversation last night, that really just made me feel like we're not on the same page where we would like to see those studies done. We're doing it a little differently. I would like for us to just carry it over for 2 weeks. Let us have this meeting on the 28th, and then let us come back. And then at that point, I'll be able to say whether or not this is, I'm in favor of that. Because I just think from what I heard last night, and at this point, I feel like we're not on the same page. And I do want to be on the same page for it, if that's okay. Let's just carry it over for 2 weeks.
Can I share a point with you?
Yes.
Okay, so I completely understand that, but for clarity, if you move forward with this, this would authorize us to start the negotiation process. It does not bind a contract, okay? It would not bind any contract. So like the notice that would go out, it would start that procurement process. So even if you guys decided we don't want to move forward with a contract, you could still do that. So whatever the body decides, obviously, we will move forward with that. But from a timeline perspective, if we move forward, and if you do decide to move forward, it would save us 2 to 3 weeks or however long the negotiation period takes. But I just want to put that out there for your consideration.
That's not the total, all the language in the resolution. That resolution makes it clear that it authorizes us to move forward with negotiation, but not the final contract.
And again, I think if we move forward with it and we start negotiating about areas that we're not fully focused on, then we may spend time negotiating for areas that we're going to turn around and say, well, let's now find this. So then they're going to be doing another, coming back to come up with prices for other areas. So I do want us to be clear about exactly what we're doing before we do it. So again, it just 2 weeks.
We're happy to answer any questions that you have about that, absolutely.
Okay, so I ask we carry this over for 2 weeks.
All right. That's the consensus of the council? All right, okay.
Item 13, resolution authorizing an agreement with AlDOT for the extension of Farmer Parkway from the end of approximately 880 feet to benefit Hyundai Trans Systems seating systems.
Okay. Mr. Conway spoke on that. Need a motion?
Mission suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 14, resolution authorizing an agreement with AlDOT for the resurfacing and planning of Westport Boulevard from the end of the Westport Boulevard to benefit Coca-Cola Bottling Company.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Go ahead.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 15, resolution authorizing an agreement with AlDOT for the downtown streetscape improvements from Jefferson Street from mid-block east of the intersection of Tallapoosa Street and Coosa Street to North Perry Street.
Need a motion?
Motion suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 16 has been withdrawn. They are now in compliance.
Great.
Number 17, resolution authorizing a show cause hearing for January the 3rd, 2023 on the proposed resolution revoking the business license of the Velvet Room Bistro at 3526 Eastdale Circle.
All right, Mr. Graham.
I think we're just putting up a show cause. I think Chief Rucker has a lot of information on this. 2 weekends ago, we had a shooting. Last weekend, we had a stabbing. We've had numerous shots. Planet Fitness got the window shot out the other night. I was actually going to the gym Monday morning. There's glass all in the parking lot. This has been a problem, and we've got some other issues too that we heard from revenue. So we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Need to suspend the rules.
Motion suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 18, show cause hearing on the proposed resolution revoking the business license of New Moon Bar and Grill, 1343 Dalrata Road.
Okay. We have someone to speak with us. It's be a public hearing. We got about 7 people to sign up to speak on item 18. If you would, Greg Griffin Jr., Charlie Brooks, Adrian Johnson, Tammy Fuller, Willie Smith, Robert Glenn, Robert Taylor, and Willie Smith. All right.
Hey, I got 3 that didn't make the sign-up sheet. I want them to come in after them.
Okay. You know the name?
Yes, I got it wrote down.
Go ahead.
You want me to call them now?
Yes, sir.
Ray Sikorsky, could you please come up?
Talking to your mic, I can't hear you.
Julie Beard and Jim Hartstead.
All right, we're going to have one spokesman. You're going to be speaking for the group, Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir. I have 7 other witnesses, though, also.
Okay.
So they'll be allowed to speak as well.
Are you going to do 3 minutes per side?
Yes. 3 minutes per side.
It's a trial. 3 minutes total?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the owner of Blue Moon, Full Moon?
She's here. Yes.
New Moon.
New Moon?
New Moon.
The Moon? All right.
I'm gonna moon you.
Okay.
Go first. Okay. To Mayor Reed, members of the council, and everyone else in the room, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Greg Griffin, and I'm here today on behalf of L&V Enterprises, doing business as New Moon Bar and Grill, and we've had a chance to review the resolution authorizing the show cause hearing and allegations alleged therein. As to the allegations of excessive crowds, L&V Enterprises doing business as New Moon Bar and Grill, would state we have no knowledge of any excessive crowds at the business and deny those allegations. As far as the violent incidences caused by patrons at LMV Enterprises, would also state we have no knowledge of any violent incidents committed by their patrons and deny those allegations as well. I have a few witnesses that want to speak on behalf of New Moon Bar and Grill, and I would like to call them forward. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Charlie Brooks. I am one of the security officers at New Moon Bar and Grill, and I just want to reiterate that we do not have overpopulation or whatever the complaint is, and we do control our traffic. We shut it down at 1 o'clock, and we do not let any other patrons in. And we make sure that everybody is 30 and up. So that's my 2 cents.
All right.
How y'all doing? My name is Adrian. Also head security of New Moon. Just like Officer Chuck said, we do try to keep the crowd down and 30 and up and try to keep everything a smooth night while we be running. And that's all I can say, guys.
State your name again, sir, for me.
Adrian Johnson?
Adrian Johnson?
Yes.
Got that.
Sir. Well, he's still talking.
Come on up, sir.
My name is Willie Smith, Jr. Greetings, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Reeves. Greeting, councilmen. It's a pleasure to be here this time. On behalf of New Moon Bar and Grill, I would say my experience there, it does a lot of good service to the community. I have been a part of several functions there. One, serving the kids during Halloween. And what I saw was a lot of kids came out, and that helped, distribute a lot of candy, treats to the children of that community. It also distributed treats to the parents of that community. Not only did they do that, Thanksgiving, giving out turkeys and ham to the citizens of the community. So I believe that from my experience of visiting New Moon, not only my experience, my family experience, my wife, son, daughter-in-law, we came out several times. And the times we were there, we felt safe, we felt welcome, and it was a great pleasure to be there. So on my behalf, I would say that it is a great establishment, ran by great people. I feel that, just being there, we always safe. I just want to say, if it was up to me, I would recommend that, that business stay open. I just want to thank you, Councilman, for your time and your attention.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. President, I'd like to ask Chief Albert to come up and address us about the most recent incident of why we're having this show cause hearing to begin with.
Okay.
Is it 3 minutes up?
We'll let them wrap up. Go ahead. You call it, Chief Albert?
Yeah, let them wrap up.
Okay.
Go ahead. I thought the beeper went off for 3 minutes.
Can we
wrap it up. You 2 minutes, wrap it up.
Okay.
I mean,
Is it 3 minutes?
I got a timer up there.
Make it quick, Robert.
I got my speech written, Brantley, and it's 2 minutes by my time.
Okay.
Okay, let's point the finger in the right direction. It's not Walmart, Robert E. Lee High School, Doubletree Hotel, our county courthouse, AutoZone, our neighborhoods, our churches, the nation's White House, the Capitol, where gunshots have occurred indiscriminately. It's us, society. Very soon, anyone can possess a gun in Montgomery and carry it anywhere they choose. I'm a retired Air Force officer who has frequented the location where New Moon is located when it was keyed, as many other military friends of mine. The back gate of Gunner Air Force Base is closed not because of gunfire, but because of 9/11 that happened in New York City. Persons in this city are roaming throughout all our neighborhoods, including mine. Lake Forest, including my sisters. Wind Lakes, including down the street from me. Town Lakes, firing firearms indiscriminately. I frequent New Moon restaurant at all hours. 72 years old, not afraid to go in, not afraid to stay. Not witness any disturbance. I have friends of 30 years who've lived in Dalraida, who've never complained to me.
All right, Rob. Mr.
I can wrap it up now.
Mr. Taylor? Yes, sir. Wrap it
Let's
up.
not shut down our businesses, schools, courthouses, neighborhoods because of troublemakers that roam the streets. We have a traffic problem out there that we can resolve. So if we deal with traffic, move people along that shouldn't be there, I think we'll do fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Brandon, Lyons?
The history behind this thing is a couple of years ago, Mr. Moon called me up about opening this establishment. It's supposed to be a restaurant with the ability to serve alcohol. They're going to close, midnight, something like that. And they just wanted to serve people that got off late and what have you. And it seems like over the time it's morphed into a stay open to wee hours in the morning. Since they've opened, I've had to deal with phone calls of excess parking, overflow parking on Beardsley. I've got a video on my phone from a corner of a house on Beardsley and Dalraida where a vehicle is coming from the back gate of Gunner, firing its pistol out there, which I agree with, it's indiscriminate firing, but for that place, that probably wouldn't have happened, though. There's photographs of the back gate of Gunner that have been where the gate was destroyed. That didn't happen until this establishment got here. Then there was a vehicle that careened off Dalraida Road into a lady's house on the corner of Dalraida Road. And it was a drunk driver in a pickup truck. I've since then had to put $15,000 worth of guardrails on that corner, mainly because it's just such a low drop, but to prevent it from happening again. Then we had a shooting in the parking lot that I'm going to let Chief Albert address that sound like the Afghan war over there. I've got a video from a resident who lives on Dalraida Road that recorded it, and it's nuts. And all these things didn't happen in Dalraida with this regular occurrence, along with the speeding and the drag racing up Dalraida Road, till this place came into existence, this particular bar. And my position is, it needs to go. It's just not a good place for it. I'd like Chief Albert to tell us what he found that night, and then I'd like the other three people to be able to speak.
Good afternoon. That incident that we're speaking of that took place on November 19th of this year, of course, was terrible in all nature, and I know we talked about it, Councilman Lyons. We recovered quite a bit of evidence, video evidence, as well as other physical evidence, indicating just what you said. There was a lot going on out there that was far beyond what anyone would want in a particular neighborhood. I think we collected 44 shell casings, we recovered a handgun, a ski mask, and blood everywhere. I believe not only was the security guard involved in defending himself, but that shooting took place not only at the scene of the location itself, but into the neighborhood, which is very concerning for us. So we've had some calls, we've had some traffic calls where we've had to go out and deal with traffic issues that's going out into the street beyond the parking lot. But more so when we get gunfire in a particular neighborhood that doesn't stay at the establishment but goes out into neighbors, and where neighbors' security cameras are picking up a rolling gun battle, that's a concern for us. We're servicing all neighborhoods. To have to focus so much attention to a particular establishment is troublesome. It's manpower intensive. That's why we're here today. So, of course, Mr. Lyons, we've spoken on this a few times. We'll deal with it as it continues to come, but hopefully we won't have to deal with it much longer.
And what time of morning was it when y'all showed up?
The first call I got was, I think, 1:23 a.m. So it was, just beyond the 1 o'clock, I think, maybe at closing time. But it was at 1:23, and I think we were out there all night looking for evidence, getting video evidence, kind of found the trail where it went into the different neighborhoods. But it was an all-night event for us at that point because, it took a little bit of investigating to kind of get to the bottom of it. Of course, like I said, finding a handgun and a ski mask and 44 shell casings, and we are still following leads on that case. We've not yet totally solved it, but we have some good information that's pointing to some suspects.
Thank you. It concerns me that the type of business that has to have security guards out in the parking lot down at the end of the neighborhood may not be the right business to have at the back of the neighborhood. But be that as may, thank you for your input and let me know what's going on over there. With that,
Will I have an opportunity to ask a question, or 3 minutes is it?
You got a question?
Yes, I have a few questions. Chief, I'm sorry, last name, Chief Albert, I'm sorry. When you say that the shooting happened at the business, it happened at the actual New Moon Bar and Grill location?
The individuals involved in this incident was seen either leaving or at that location. And that's the vehicles, the vehicle descriptions, the Kia that was of interest, as well as the individuals that was known to be at that location just prior to the shooting happening.
Okay, and when you say he was seen leaving the location, like he came out of the bar, I know people turn around in that ending down, like near the gate. Was this, he was a patron of the bar, or he was just somebody that went down to the end of the road and turned around? I understand, I'm sorry, and I know it's 3 minutes, but you're talking about a person's livelihood. And it kind of feels like you're being railroaded.
I'd like to rebut that. I'm talking about all the people that own homes in that neighborhood. I'm talking about their investment.
What about the people that rent?
I think their right to live in peace far outweighs somebody's right to sell liquor and run a nightclub in the back of the neighborhood. That's my position. And I think the answer to your question would be, but for that place being there, that wouldn't have happened.
How do you say that? How do you say that definitively? That is a 1.5 mile long street. Del Rado Road is a 1.5 mile long street with 25 entry points. And you say that the business at the end of the street.
They investigated.
Okay, they investigate.
All right. You done? All right. You got a question?
I do.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
I did too.
Ms. Graham
Ms.
and
Graham,
Mr.
yeah.
Mitchell.
Well, and I know we have some others that are gonna come up and speak, but okay, so I heard you say, Councilman Lyons, that it was one point where they closed a little earlier. Is that what you said when they first opened?
No,
They
when
did?
they first opened, it was presented to me that it was going to
Please
be
talk
a
in your
restaurant.
microphone.
Okay.
When it was presented to me in the very beginning, it's supposed to be a restaurant. Now it's turned into a nightclub.
And what time were they closing? When you first opened your business, what time were you closing?
Come on up, man.
And give us your name for the record.
Vina Hagler.
Okay, Ms. Hagler, when you first opened, what time were you closing?
I was closing at 12:30, but we got 16 on a nightly basis. We are in there cleaning up, and most of the time it's we be in there at about 1:20, something like that, but we be cleaning up. The sign on the door is closed.
So you officially close at 12:30 every day?
Yes.
So you said you got a call a little after 1, so this either been somebody coming out of your business or somebody was just driving down the street one way or another.
They come down that street and they turns around and go back up.
Ma'am, let me ask you a question. You say you close your business. What if people are already in there? Do you run them out at 12:30?
No, the ones that's in, they usually waiting on dinner, waiting on
Okay.
some food.
So they could be there after 1 o'clock, right?
Well, they inside the building.
Okay.
Once they go out, that's it. Most time they're finishing up their food.
When do you make your like, when is your business, like, when do you get your most patrons? Is it like after work, you know, people stopping by to get dinner to go home?
Yeah.
You just have a few stragglers come in late night, or is it?
Yes, I get a lot of phone calls. Can you fix me a chicken sandwich, bologna sandwich? I'm on my way in, I want to pick it up.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mitchell.
Chief Albert, do we have a number of service calls that can actually say that it was actually a incident that happened in their parking lot, or all of those calls are going to be something that occurred outside of their parking lot?
We've had calls over a period of time about traffic in and around the location.
Just traffic?
Traffic calls. You know.
And how many of those you had?
You know how many of those you had, Chief?
No, yeah, give me a second. We'll give you some stats in just a second.
Trav?
Call for service, that's what you're trying to get?
Yeah, we're trying to get.
Yeah. I have Captain Amy Sabell here. She's one of the patrol supervisors that actually work the shift and is actually dealing directly with the incidents at the location.
Okay.
Good evening. We've had 8 calls for service in that area since January of this year.
So for a 12-month or 1-year period, you only had 8 calls?
Yes, sir.
What kind of calls are you having? Is it overflow parking lot in the neighborhoods or what?
It's a variety. Like Chief mentioned, we get traffic calls about parking. We get traffic calls about speeding on the outskirts of the neighborhood that aren't necessarily, you know, we can't technically adjoin it to the establishment, but most of them are traffic related, yes, sir.
On Dalrata Road?
In that area, yes. In that general vicinity, Dalrata.
So we cannot just
How many of those calls?
definitely say that they are related. They could be just, like you said, turning around, just speeding on Dalrata, but can we definitively say they're actually patrons at that club?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Lyon?
Mr. Sikorsky, you can come up, please, sir.
My name's Ray Zaworski. My house backs up to the base, and I get to preview every night the New Moon Bar and Grill. And I want to say it to you this way. I want businesses to thrive. I want the tax money. I want the passed down economics that go to the beer driver on Thursday, the guy who cuts the grass on Tuesdays, and things like that. That's important to our city. But at the same time, I want the place to be a good neighbor for us. I've always said that. I've said that to our community policing people also. One of our biggest issues we have here is they crank up the bass so loud, it goes through our houses, through our windows, and across the streets, all along Beardsley. This is something they can fix very easily. A sound engineer, that's a big issue. Traffic. The guys, before they instituted the security people, it used to be really crazy. They've got it down pretty good, but the problem is they don't stop the 10 guys in the Jeeps that come through there with their music blasting so loud it wakes us up at 2 o'clock in the morning going to the bar.
Not at 12:30.
No, their traffic, they start when everybody wants to party at 11:30 at night till 2:30 in the morning. There are cars still coming in at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, it wasn't said to me, this is just hearsay, but their own main bartender told people that they're open till 3. There's a count, probably 60 to 90 cars, and even over that, over 100 sometimes cars per night, starting from the Friday to Sunday night. Traffic's a big issue. I've had people drive on my yard, across my yard, through my yard. I've had people urinate on my yard. Had young ladies drop their pants in the middle of the street of Del Rey, walking from the bar to their car because the security guards turned them around so they park on Beardsley. We don't need to see this. Patrons. It's probably the biggest issue every bar has ever faced. You can't control the patrons, I understand that. And I really don't know how you fix that part of it. The gun violence, to let you guys know, there's been 7 incidences of gun violence on there. One of them, the week before the mass shooting, where they said they had all the shells, happened in their parking lot between somebody in a car and either somebody walking. That person shot at him and got in the car and drove away. I called the police on that one. It was an after-the-fact issue. He called me up and says, is there any property damage? I said, no. I said, this is after the fact. No police ever came down there to even see if anybody was laying in the parking lot. I mean, that really upset us on that part.
Well, you being as a resident of there, at the end of the day, what would you like
I want them to be a thriving business. If the Del Rey gate was open for these guys, they would have traffic patterns in the morning, in the afternoon, and at lunchtime, at dinner time. People coming out, get a drink before they go home. I want them to thrive as a business, but I want them to be a good neighbor. That's what I'm asking. My 3 points on this to me are the bar, if they could correct their sound issue, find a way to redirect it another way. The city council, if you can get involved, and I wrote to you on this one specifically, and the security guards can attest to this. People launch themselves out that gate, out the exit, going over the railroad tracks through the Rada area there. I mean, these cars are doing 60, 70 miles before they even hit the intersection. That isn't all the time, but it happens. But somebody's going to make a right-hand turn blindly on there, and they're going to get hit by somebody. I know that's going to happen eventually. I've talked about speed bumps. I don't know what the laws say on speed bumps.
All right, Mr.
The
Lyons.
police, I would like to see more police presence in the area. I mean, we have cars that park along there waiting to get in. The guys are doing their job, but the people just crank up the noise as loud as they want, or they park there and don't care. The other one issue I have is, I don't know if you guys pay a deposit on your Corona bottles, but a lot of them end up on my driveway busted. They end up on the sidewalk busted. The kids can't walk. And Del Rey is really a nice place because along the gate back there, the people don't have to worry about their kids riding bikes or walking. And because of the broken beer bottles that people just toss leaving, we either sweep them up, pick them up, things like that. That's my issue. But I want them to thrive as a business. I want them there. I want their tax money. I want them to employ people.
So what's the work, Brandon?
Let's do this. I want to carry this thing over to the next meeting, and I want a plan from the owner of how you're going to address these issues, if you can. And I also want, I'm going to have another conversation with my chief of police. And, but we can't keep going like we're going.
All right.
Do y'all have each other's information so y'all can communicate with the business owner? Can y'all make sure y'all do that today? Switch out some information?
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Do y'all have any problem with putting any kind of security cameras in your parking lot and tying them into Star Watch? You can do that?
Oh,
You
she
make
said
that
they
happen?
got cameras.
They have.
Are they can you tie them in the Star Watch?
All right.
Go ahead.
We moved. Mr. Lyon, you want to carry this over for 2 weeks?
I think we can work this out. Brown? count on me to work out.
We're going to
All
have
right.
10 rounds, man.
Okay. We got a motion to carry this over for 2 weeks. That's your motion?
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right.
See what happens.
If I could, may I address the council? I want to apologize for that outburst.
No, that's
It
cool.
just came over
You're
me.
passionate.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 20.
I apologize to the mayor as well.
Item 20, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license doing business as Payless Tobacco and Beverage at 2803 East South Boulevard.
Representative of item 20. All right, let's keep it down.
Good evening.
Give me 1 second, sir. All right, your name for the record?
Lutfer Rahman.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper before the council. Suspension of the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Mr. Mitchell, are you voting?
Nope, no,
No. 5 with 1 no or abstention?
Yes, abstention.
The resolution carries with 5 positives and 1 abstention.
All right, good luck with your business. Next item.
Same
Item
one.
21,
Same one.
just 1 second, I'm having to make note of council members leaving. Item 21, application for a lounge retail liquor license, Class 2 package license, doing business as Payless Tobacco and Beverage at Central Parkway.
All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper before the council.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Good luck with your
Resolution is
business.
adopted.
Thank you.
Item 22, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Lions of Pride at 1111 Perry Hill Road.
Representative.
Dharmendra Patel.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare it's proper before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Item 23, resolution concurring in the reappointment of Henry Frazier to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
Motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 24, resolution concurring in the reappointment of Carrie Owens to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 25, resolution reappointing Robert Hardwick Jr. to the Planning Commission.
Motion to
Motion.
adopt?
Oh, yeah, motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Wake up, Brad.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 26, resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
Move to oppose?
To adopt.
Move to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 27, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Can we ask if anybody's going to speak on it?
Anyone here want to speak on item 621 West Fred Gray Avenue or 3796 Norman Ridge Road? No? All right.
Motion to oppose?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 28, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Me either.
You said 28?
Yes, sir, 28.
Another sheet, the other sheet, CC.
Okay, all right. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. And I have put before the council contingency funds. The first ones have Mayor Reed's approval. There's some behind there that do not have your approval. This one has your approval for District 4, 500 to Alabama Historical Commission for historical marker, 2,000 to Montgomery Area Food Bank, 4,000 to King's Canvas, 2,000 to Mercy House, 2,000 to United Way. Mayor, you've approved for District 8, 1,000 to Girls on the Run. And I need your approval for District 4, 500 to Manhood Incorporated. They are a vendor.
Yes. I thought I signed off on that. I'm sorry.
And for District 4, $500 to Step Foundation. They're also a vendor.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add $2,500 to Project Preservation Lamp Lighters.
Just a second, let me do that again.
Project Preservation Lamp Lighters, $2,500.
Project
Yes, I think they just became a vendor about a month ago.
Lamp Lighters.
Yes, ma'am.
Project something. Okay, how much?
$2,500.
2,500. Okay.
Ms. Blaylock, I would like to give $2,000 to Mercy House and $2,000 to Hope Inspired Ministries.
$2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 to Mercy House and 2 for Hope Inspired Ministries.
Okay. Is that all?
Yes, anyone else? Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Mayor, you okay with those two?
Yes.
Oh. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right. All right, we have in our public communication roster non-agenda item, Mr.